Good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Honan. My website is mikehonan.com. And today I'm going to talk about a subject that's near and dear to my heart, overcoming failure. Probably the most important part, keys to overcoming failure. And I want to say what's so incredible about failure is out of some of my most difficult failures, I found amazing success came on the heels or in the wake of all this failure, was all these amazing opportunities. And I think what it forced me to do, what failure forced me to do, was reassess my life and ask myself the question, how did I get here? And kind of even whose fault is it? Really, I really just looked at it and I thought, well, I was sick at the time. I had this weird Lyme disease thing going on. I don't know what it was. I still don't know what it is. But doesn't mean it was in terrible shape. This is 2008 through 2010. Everything was going on. My youngest brother passed away in the middle of all this mess, which put, all these other things in there. But in the middle of that, and towards the tail end of that, I don't know if it would have, here's the thing, who knows how long it could have gone on, but eventually I came to a place, and I felt like this was key, that I was where I was because of me. And I just took responsibility, and there was some uncontrollable things in there. I did get sick. The economy went bad. There were some things. But you know what the crazy thing is? In the middle of a bad economy, there's still people making lots of money. Not everybody, but there are people doing it. So I just started taking responsibility for where I was. And in the middle of this, I come from a big Irish Catholic family. I had some of my brothers, offered it. They were well-meaning, offering to help me out. And I came to the place where I said, I'm going to get myself out of this. I got myself into this. This is my fault. Regardless, I just didn't want to blame anybody. And I'm not trying to say it was my fault that I got sick. I just didn't want to blame anybody. And I thought in the middle of all that, I started to get, and I think this is really key, I just started being thankful. I started looking at my life and go, hey, what do I have to be thankful of? I have a very wonderful wife, very loving wife. She's just great. Still crazy about her after 35 years of marriage. So I started being thankful. I have great kids. So I started being thankful that I got family, friends that really care about me, that love me. And I started being thankful, and it just started changing the way I thought. And in the middle of that, I can't remember when this happened, where in the process, but somehow I went to a doctor. He figured out what was wrong with me, got me back on track physically, kind of gave me a new lease on life. Matter of fact, a few years ago, it was really kind of funny. I have some retail stores that I opened after this big failure thing. And I was in there, and one of my customers came in and said, we started talking about, I can't remember what, something about being sick. And I said, yeah, I went to this naturopath. His name is whatever. And this guy saved my life. And the fellow I was talking to, he says, I know him. He saved my life too. So anyway, just a little funny side note. Back to what we're talking about, failure. I guess what I'm saying is being thankful. I took responsibility at one point. I just said, hey, this is nobody's fault but my own. And some of it I could look back and go, honestly, yeah, that was my fault. I wasn't taking care of things up front. I let things get out of hand. So that being the case, the other thing was I started being thankful. And it just changed an attitude in my mind. That coupled with the fact that I wanted to take responsibility. And then I started thinking about, here I was, I had, my whole life kind of back in front of me. I was feeling better physically. And I just looked at I thought, I want to open a retail store. And I've told this story in other videos, in audio, video podcasts, but I'll tell it again. I want to open a store, and my wife and I really enjoy drinking wine. And so we thought, well, let's maybe open a wine store. So we started looking at this, and you got to understand, at this point, I really didn't have any money. I had nothing but a dream. I mean, we had some funds and some resources, but we didn't have, $50,000, $100,000 to throw into this. But it was just a dream, an opportunity. I thought, I'm going to see how far this gets me. I'm going to see how far I can get doing this. I'm just going to wait until it was absolutely no. So anyway, I started looking into opening a wine store. So I started going around. I gave myself some things to do, went around looking for real estate, looking for locations. I was talking to people in retail, in the wine business. One thing led to another. After some time of kind of looking at this business, I decided not to do it. But I was open. I think what happened was, after I failed, somehow I just thought, okay, I'm going to dig myself out of this. I began to look for opportunities. I began to try to make opportunities. I changed my mind, the way I was thinking. I changed it. Instead of saying I can't do it, I just thought, hey, I got to do it. If I don't do it, no one's going to do it for me. Came to the conclusion I couldn't wait for somebody else. And I think there was something in the back of my mind, some weird idea I got growing up, that somehow somebody was going to step in and help me out. And you know what? I think there are times in life when people do, but when you're waiting for somebody to do everything for you, it just never gets done because no one's going to do everything for you. I've never done anything yet for everybody. I help people out, but you just can't do everything. Nobody's going to step in and make your life better. You've got to come to the conclusion, take responsibility, get out there, pursue your dreams, pursue what you want to do. If you hate your job, quit, change it. Is it going to be easy? Probably not, but you might be happier. I mean, you probably will be happier if you're out of a job you hate. So that being said, I started being thankful, or took responsibility for my condition, started being thankful, and opened myself up for the new opportunities of what I really wanted to do. And it was really strange. I was down in Oklahoma on a short break with my brothers, having some fun down there. And while I was down there, I was walking through this big park where they're having this big event we were attending. And this kid walks by and he's puffing on this looks like a little steel pipe, and there's vapor coming out, or smoke. It looked like smoke. And I said, what is that? What are you doing? He goes, oh, it's a vaporizer. Or he said something like, it's an e-cigarette. I said, you mean one of those goofy little things you see on TV with a little blue light on the end? He goes, yeah, it's amazing. And I thought, wow, that is crazy. And I talked with him for a few minutes. It was kind of interesting, but I was like, wow, just out of my purview or my mindset. I had never thought about it. I always thought it was kind of a goofy idea. Anyway, right after that, my wife calls me and says, a good friend of my son, who grew up with my son and went to high school with my son, one of his best friends, showed up at my house and at the signs and graphics business. And he said, hey, is Mike around? I want him to make some stickers. So my wife called me and said, Jeremy showed up. He wants you to make him stickers. And I said, whatever. I'll talk to him when I get back. So I called this kid. He's not a kid, really, young man. Call him up when I get back to Oregon. And I said, hey, Jeremy, what's up? And he goes, hey, I just quit smoking. He'd been a smoker for 10 years. He was just probably 29, 30 years old at the time. He said, I just quit smoking, using these vaporizers, these e-cigarettes. It's absolutely one of the most amazing products I've ever experienced. I've quit smoking. I'm feeling better, all this stuff. I want to open a store. So we sat down, talked. One thing led to another. I got another buddy, a good friend of mine, involved. We put together some cash. Had a retail store open in 30 days. Now we've got 4 stores open. They're doing well. I mean, nothing goes without problems, but overall it's doing well. This would have never happened. I hadn't failed. I'll tell you what, failure is really the doorway to opportunity. It's the possibility for rebirth. You know, through death, through failure, sometimes you have to move. To break yourself out of where you are, sometimes you really have to catastrophically fail. Not always, but sometimes it happens. You're in a dead end. You got to, the only way you're going to get out of that rut sometimes is to have it fail or flood, or to get you to move takes a lot of trouble or whatever. Because we're comfortable. We're comfortable there, and we're going to stay there. I'm not sure all what it is, but it does happen. And it's one of those things where failure, if you're in the middle of failure, just say, thank you, God, because I'll tell you what, this could be the opportunity of a lifetime. In the middle of failure, difficulty, I'll tell you what, some of the most amazing doors will open up to you, and you can listen to hundreds of this, and people will say the same thing over and over. In the midst of failure, or on the heels of failure, I found tremendous opportunity, tremendous success. And it is so true. Something happens when you fail. It wakes you up. It forces you to take a different direction. It makes you look at your life in a new way. Not always. Sometimes people give up. If you're in the middle of a failure, whether it's your fault or not, doesn't matter. You could be on the cusp of the best part of your life. Could be just beyond that. Maybe it's when you wake up and begin to move in a new direction. New opportunity is going to open up. Your life is going to be better than it's ever been. It's going to be richer than it's ever been. And I don't know, I'm not talking about always money. Money obviously brings a certain amount of comfort and security. It's a good thing. But it could just be relationship. It could be anything. could be a new sense of identity of who you are, of what you're capable of. But I'll tell you what, you come through failure, you come through difficulty, you are on the heels. You are in the doorway of amazing opportunity. And the bigger the failure, the bigger the opportunity. The more crushing the downfall, the farther you're going to shoot up. And I think that's true. I believe that's true. I didn't see tremendous success until I failed tremendously. Really. In my mind, it was I was at some of my lowest points in my life. And right around the corner, I came out of it, and life has been awesome. I've had more success in my life in the last 2 or 3, 4 years than I've ever had. Financially, just relationship-wise, I got 2 grandkids. What's better than that? You know what I mean? My kids are great. My grandkids are great. You know, it's just things are good. Life's good. It's good. And it doesn't last. We're all going to die. Be the best version, I should say, of yourself, because there's many versions of you. What version do you want to be? Do you want to be the best, or do you want to be the victim? Be the best version of yourself. That's what I'm working for. I'm trying to be the best version. Does that always happen? No, but I'm trying to push that direction. Look, think of a large cargo ship. Our lives this is what it's like, to me anyway. This is a picture I have in my mind. We're like this large cargo vessel in the ocean. Thousands of tons of inertia and effort is pushing this vessel, your life, through time, space, the universe, the earth. You know, we're moving through time, space, and all this inertia, all the effort and energy of thoughts and actions for years are pushing you in a certain direction. Now, to change that direction is going to take a lot of against that vessel and move it in a new direction. It's going to take a lot of energy, but I'll tell you what, to change direction is so worth it. And this is kind of turning into a long video, and I apologize for that, but I just want to encourage you, put that inertia into changing the direction of your life. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it happens. What's 6 months? I mean, it may seem like a lot of time, but man, I look back 6 months, the year's almost over. It just started. 6 months is going to go by. In 6 months, you can be light years from where you are now. If you want to change something, you want to change the financial future of your life, you want to change direction, you can do it. So, that being said, I just want to say thanks for listening. It's turning into an overly long audio segment, but I think it's worth talking about. My name is Mike Honan. My website is mikehonan.com. If you like this video, I'm going to be talking a lot about success, about overcoming, about business, marketing, online marketing, all kinds of stuff. Go to my website, www.mikehonan.com, leave your name and email, and I'll send you links to more audio and video content in the upcoming future. You can get on my private email list and all the resources that entails. Thanks a lot for listening. Adios, amigos.